Today, we're thinking through the salvation we find in Jesus and how it relates to this discipleship pathway. We start with a few verses we know so well, John 3:16 and 17. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but have everlasting life. Indeed, God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. What about Romans chapter 10, verses 9 through 13? Because if you confess with your lips that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For one believes with the heart and so is justified, and one confesses with the mouth and so is saved. The scripture says no one who believes in him will be put to shame, for there is no distinction between Jew and Greek. The same Lord is Lord of all, and is generous to all who call on him, for everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. That word saved is found in the New Testament in so many places. Christendom has taught us that to be saved is to go to heaven. It is to not go to hell. It's not wrong, but it's certainly not the fullness of the thing. The concept of God's salvation is magnificent. The Greek words point to a Hebrew word which points to more words. The root of all of it is sozo, which means to be saved, to be healed, to be made whole. Beneath all of that lies the concept of shalom, which means peace, but not just any peace. Peace with God, peace with each other, and a peace that seeks the well-being of all people and all of God's creation. Any understanding of the salvation we find in Jesus has to fit with that whole arc of God's salvation. The Apostle Paul captured it in Romans chapter 8. In Jesus, God was reconciling the world to God's self. God is actively making all things new. When we look at the world and start to think that it's going to hell in a handbasket, we're missing an important biblical worldview that teaches us that God is actually actively working in the here and now to make all things right. It's messy, it's complicated, and we usually can't see the forest for the trees, but it doesn't change the promise of Scripture that God is at work bringing healing, wholeness, and shalom to the whole world. Our salvation is caught up in that larger salvation, and any notion of salvation that doesn't include the fullness of God's saving work in Jesus for the whole of creation and all of humanity is missing something. I think about Brother Bill Springer, who led our little confirmation class in 1993. I vividly remember this exchange between one of my classmates and Brother Bill. My young friend was explaining how he didn't need to be in confirmation class anymore because he had done been saved. He said it over and over and over again. I done been saved. I done been saved. I don't need all this. Brother Bill said, well, tell me what you've been saved from. Well, I've been saved from my sins, the boy said. Yes, what else? Well, I've been saved from the fires of hell. Well, what else? I've been saved from spending forever separated from God and my people. Okay, now, said Brother Bill, we know what you've been saved from. What have you been saved to? He couldn't answer that question. None of us could back then. Brother Bill said, if it's all right, I'll get on with confirmation class now.